Pardon my look. I just want it's going to come up more and more. I don't come from a place of too much damage. I actually come from a place of having been protected enough, really just free enough um, to steer clear. You know, I wasn't pressured into the role playing that men and women are involved with. You could say unfortunately or fortunately for me, actually, I remember at a very early age being very adamant and just being who I am without all of that projection, you know what I mean? Like I would take off the clothes that people were insisting that I should wear, which was really girly stuff, right? And I just felt so uncomfortable and all of that stuff, so I kept stripping that away from me. And I remember my mom just handled it as well. Eventually, like, what do you want to wear? You know, because you have to wear clothes. You know what I mean? So she gave me a choice, and I just picked somewhere along the lines of what my brother was wearing, but really it was just how I felt in my body inside of those clothes, which would be, can I walk? And does it not itch? You know, like the polyester blouses, you know, even the names of this shit that they were saying, well, here's a dress and here's a blouse. And I was like, can I have a shirt? And can I have a pair of pants? Doesn't make me feel like that something's gonna crawl up my fucking ass. Pardon me. But no, really, I mean, I appreciate the feminine aspect, babe, and that's to me, that's what I'm protecting. My whole life, I'm thinking, I'm who I am, and I have a lot to give from there, and I don't consider it as being a woman, you know, just as much as just being who I would be, because you know what I mean is what is a man and a woman? What is that really? I mean, there's in psychology, it's like a really foggy line, but to me, it's like, what are you working with down there? Will you check? And then, um, having considered that, you know, if you find that you're a woman and you're able to reproduce, man, I'm gonna start talking more and more about how I feel that the woman has a profound responsibility to her sexuality. I mean, that is all that she has. That's all she has as a woman. That's all that she has that is of any value to humankind. And if she doesn't hold that up as being all that she is, she's not going to be bothering to raise up a civilization anytime too soon. The more I keep talking about this, the more you're going to see, oh yeah, that connects. Because why? Well, what if we reduce human beings out of it? And then what comes out of that is a vibrational frequency. Like, what are we sharing? So what I'm saying now, what's dawning on me, and it's really awkward, right? At first, you know, it was for me, but now I know what is meant by just saying we make love. We don't have just sex, we make love with each other. I'm looking at this thing where it's like, okay, so women, you know, the way that I experience it is that we bring men up. You know, I have been fortunate now, nearing 50 years old, to have to have associations in love where we didn't bring each other down. We actually experience bringing each other up. And the main thing is the only thing that mattered really how it happened was through my decision to let them in, like sexually. They see that's the thing is that men, right? Isn't this what's happening? Is that men are like knock knock, you know, man, I want into you. If you just look the way the woman is built, she is made that you have to go into her, right? And he has to he's curious, right? Well, what is he curious about? Well, for me, it's like, yeah, you're curious about the sex that I am, right? Yes, that you know what? There isn't anything more important it, between men and women to carry on with than that. That is the core. They call it the root chakra. if that isn't if that isn't healthy between the man and woman, what else is going on? Nothing. Nothing. It's just a facade. Especially you can see it's a facade happening. I'm not involved with perpetuating that, like saying that it's okay that men are treating women a certain way just because they give them money. And what I mean is, you people that are getting married, first of all, man, I question marriage. I'm sure that there are some friends that make it work. You can make anything work. Make sense out of anything if you have love there and you guys are really good friends. But otherwise, I see marriage really as an excuse. Damn it, it just can't seem to work for me as finding true love within myself. So this is the way that we hide. And we pose as loving each other. There isn't any love in marriage yet. As soon as you get married, I mean, that's what kills love. You're lucky if you can maintain it through that illusion. Really, you look at each other and say, well, really, we're just best friends. And this is a hell of a thing, and we keep looking at each other through the thick and the thin. It doesn't matter if you're married or not. I mean, I think that if you have that true love and you're capable, you should get married, but you shouldn't really on the premise that that's going to secure you up. Now you own each other or some shit, and that's what's kind of going on. I don't know. It's none of my business, babes. I want to get back into the virgin territory, which is the creation that God has made through men and women, and you can see that how that women were created a certain way. Like I said, she is made as a space that you, as a man, kind of, you're curious about it. You're like, well, where do I put myself? She has to carefully direct you in a way that respects her sexuality. She has to make love. She's the one making love. I'm pretty sure. That's the way it's going mathematically. That she um, makes that space. She is that space, and then the way that she opens up even more is just it's like a place that you go to learn about how to love each other, and that starts with it involves um, making each other feel good. Really showing the man her body in such a way that she's going to be smiling. What I'm talking about isn't a mystery. This is what I'm maintaining in my life, what has happened for me, and I refuse to go where I can see it, and I don't have respect for it. See, the reason why I was able to experience what I have experienced, the low, the 80%, is because, especially as women, but now I understand that this is happening with men too. See, I try not to seem biased. And pardon my look, by the way, I'm having a really hard time with the world. I refuse. Even though that I can work really well, and you see, I'm nearing 50 years old now, and it's like, wait a minute, man, we can't keep trying to make sense out of this fucking bullshit. It's not right, you kids. Anyway, getting back to what I'm looking at is just a simple math. How that, for me, I just held ground as a human being. Really, I just thought, well, no, I'm not a woman, and I don't want to be a man either. I am a presence here, and I share from the core of me, from my understanding, and I recognize the difference in others people. How we're not all the same. We're all the same in that we could find something that we love and share it. And it's more than just the obvious. It's just, again, I'm being brought back in. Pardon the way I look. Again, fucking third time I'm saying this here. It's 4 in the morning. It's just me here. Anyway, getting back to how that wow, how that I can see the disrespect that is happening between both men and women because of the money world. So that needs to stop. It needs to end, and somebody needs to stop it. I stop it in my life by making certain sacrifices that I have. I mean, fortunate thing is that I've lived in the mountains for 35 years. I've pretty much carved myself out a simple life, like maintaining that with, like, say, my imagination, just going with maintaining my mentality, like, oh no, I'm in the mountains, and we've made it. We've made it. The water is running in the back. We have, this is the place to be, you know. If you really dial in, Mother Nature is trying to take care of us here. And what I have witnessed is how far away even I have gotten from it, thanks to fucking technology here. But there's a balance to be made. There's a reason that we are what we are. We're not exactly fully earthling, really. We are visiting the earth. We are fucking space beings, man. We are planted here. And we're highly adaptable. You know, really our bodies are of the Mother Nature. It's really complicating to get into all this shit, but anyway, getting back to just the organic, you know, the way that the organism is set up. Women are to be showing men what, you know, making love. The way we make love. It's literally, yes. Well, how do we find love in our lives? You know, women are taking a chance. When a man knocks on her and says, hey, hopefully he's knocking and he's not being a fucking rude, fucking brute piece of shit. No way. No. You know, he's gonna find out what she needs. And then she's gonna get really deep into that with her, she should, with her body, saying, this is who I am. And this is the place we go when you're knocking on that door. If you want to have, as far as sex, really it's not sex, it's making love. The more and more you get with her, the more she's going to show you what love is, and she's going to make love into you. You're going to learn. This is not a belief of mine. This is my experience. This is who I am. And it happens through your ability to maintain your own pleasure. Just maintain a smile on your face. You don't let people, anybody, and even especially their ignorance, you say, no, 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 check this out. And you share with them. You know, it's kind of like when I've done with my music, what I've tried to do. I mean, not trying, it's just what you do when you find something really amazing that makes you happy. Say, hey, check this out. It's not that, I mean, it's interesting, the music and everything, but really you just share this feeling that you have, and you just show people that it's possible to have that for yourself and still respect people and be present with them. You know what I mean? I mean, what a perfect example to even speak of that way, of that kind of thing, where a musician who, you have no idea what we have when we can choose out of this medium, of this spectrum of possibilities that is the notes, and you make harmonious structures, and people, you get joy out of it. But then, so see, when you get joy out of it, it transfers onto other people, and there isn't anything left to do but to share that. And it's not about that obvious. It's about that, hey, you can have this for you too, really, if you want it, you know. And it's not necessarily music, but you know, there's that space that you can allow the truth in, and the same is with our bodies, that provides joy. Really, it's this feeling of bliss and joy, happy, really genuinely satisfying. Like you can just be be who you are without any obstruction to your being. Uh, I hope you can hear. I mean, it's important to remain playful, and that's what the woman's responsibility is. It's just to maintain. Look, we're going to have kids. It's going to be safe because we stay playing, and that is brought into the arena of that intensity of you know, that transference of energy between men and women, the sex, you know, that is lovemaking. It's the possibility to cultivate love within, and now I'm going to pick on men, and women, really, because she has that delicacy. It's a responsibility, really, it's her freedom. If a woman is left alone, this is what the studies are, is that they explore their bodies more. They're actually more mature. Somehow this is the truth, because why? Well, they're born out of the very intelligence that they need to be the woman. The technicality is there, and I'm not making this up, is that she doesn't need to go anywhere to access her womanhood. That's just the way God made it. She is getting everything from her mom without a single word spoken. She is sealed with what she needs to know. By the age 5, she is super empowered. The man needs to break away from the intelligence that isn't really his as a body, and he needs to find that man. And this is the problem. That's not being known. First of all, women aren't educated about it. They're not women having children. They are emotional basket cases wrecks about, oh, this is the idea that I'm going to, the external pressure to be in a family and to play this role. And it's like, why don't you just relax and find out what's really going on here? Nobody is falling off the face of the earth. You can see it. It's like, at the very least, babes, this is all that matters. Like I said, to wrap this up, a woman's sexuality, for her, that's all she has. So when it doesn't matter what you're doing, okay, the man, good for him. He's out there planting his seed. Make sure you're making love. Make sure you're making love. That means that you respect the level of pleasure that you're capable of as a woman in your body, in your own body. Good for him. He is having trouble, if you notice. I mean, it's a big, I don't know why it's like he needs to be slowed down. It's not all about him. I mean, it's just like he's done it in a minute. It's like, that's not really how we get good things. We wait. It takes time. You get a skill. And the woman needs to make that love possible, babes. Thanks for listening to this. This is like, I'm 40 years old, 48. I've been around the block enough. I've done things enough on my own. In that area, babes, I didn't dare have children because, well, first of all, I sense that there is a big problem on the planet, and it has to do with our lovability. There are people, babes, you guys are having children, not really achieving love making, let alone knowing what love is. Because when it's just really complex. It's just hard to, but we can find literature. We can start talking about it if you would like. The nature of true love, when you find it in yourself. It's the exact same as what Jesus is talking about. God is love. If there is a religion, babes, there is just one here on the planet that needs to be refreshed, and it's pointing at the truth like that. Like, say, okay, let's start with sex. What's going on there? What pleasure, reproduction, whatever, all of that stuff. There's just the truth, the simplicity of it, really. Beyond, God, it's a very controversial subject matter, because the mind gets in the way of it all. It certainly has fucking gotten in the way of everything, including our foods, right? Just like, how do we live, really? Man, I'm looking at something, babes. I'm lucky that I'm going to be having a little bit of cash for the rest of the duration of my life. God is trying to direct me. I keep seeing the way that it can be versus the way that it is. And I'm going to make myself happy based on what I'm looking at. It's time for us to dream more. This is the time of dreaming, especially with this full moon coming up. How it just keeps progressing. What we're looking at, the beauty of how that we need to communicate now, and that's all that I'm doing. It's really tough for me, somebody like me. If you knew me, how phobic I was and have been about the woman and man thing, and this is precisely why, right? There's something really, um, I was about to say complicating, but it's only because um, religions come to mind. How thanks for destroying men and women, you fucking religions. There shouldn't be 350,000 fucking different religions. There's men and women here. Now you're either producing two different worlds. You're coming from um, the men or the women. I'm serious. Now, when you look at the math, man has man in it. Men is just men. But man, a little bit more complicating there. I'm not saying this to try and play. You fucking people are in this competition, especially men. Men just have that in them to work hard and dominate and get on top. And for what? To shit on women? I doubt it, babes. You're geared divinely to do something, and it's not really to ruin other men either. You know, I'm getting the feeling that it's only a fucking few on this planet that are actually truly men and women, and these can become the kings and queens if they find each other and they know how to love each other and produce out of that. Whew. Man, you know, it could be just that we're pulling up out of the dark ages, and if I'm able to talk about this for 21 minutes now and make any kind of sense to change somebody and to just have faith that you were created a certain way that there's perfection behind it, trust it, especially if you're a woman. You know, your body, the way that you give birth, you know, the way that they have you laying down, that's not natural. You're afraid. But women who aren't afraid that give birth, they give birth standing up. And they do the strange dance. Some of them, it's known, you can study it. Go and see what the women do near the ocean. They go to the ocean and they have their children inside the ocean. They're standing up. The kids are born in the water and they pick them up out of the water. They take their first breath from having come out of the ocean instead of out of her. That's happening. But my point is that, man, there's a system that is keeping both men and women's powers down. Like, oh, you're just not supposed to know. And to lay her down flat and to give birth that way is actually really bad for your spine and your body if you were a natural woman. What's going on is that, and you know, you're not living in fear. What's going on is you will see that some women get on their hands and knees and then they will give birth. If it's the right environment, there's a tribe that knows that this is happening. Their closest, their king or their mate is there helping them with the whole process emotionally. If they're able to be there available emotionally, then that's what's happening. If they're not available emotionally, they should have never had sex. The woman should never have let that in. She is sensitive to that. And she says, no, you're not even caring for me. Do you hear what I'm saying? And that's where it matters. It fucking matters. You know, I hear these fucking cretins come at me saying, you know, it's not all about the sex. Bullshit. Bullshit. Wouldn't have even fucking come up here in a snowstorm if it wasn't about the sex. And then what happens though when you don't pull people up and you start educating them about it, really giving them a real fucking love? When does it happen that you're not going to get the education from the woman about that? Now you're going to go into school and she's going to learn about her body? No. No, women are teaching each other this, babes. And it's happening more and more that I see women that say, no, my mom didn't tell me anything about, you know, she can't tell you, but she's passing on a very subtle thing. She's already passed it on, babe. Next, when you become 9 or 10, 11, she's going to prepare you. I mean, you're not going to help her to notice why is she bleeding? She's bleeding once a month. You know, fucking sweep that under the carpet. The ones who are bleeding, the life-giving blood, not from here, babes. It's time to stop ignoring everything. And and look through the system that is fucking degrading all of you as men and women, especially the feminine.